I'll be honest, I never used to get excited about clones, fragrance clones. Oftentimes I would go into them with my backup in the air, just kind of thinking that they were going to completely suck and be a waste of money. Because when I was getting into fragrances about 5 years ago, clones were a thing, obviously, they were around, and they just weren't being done at the same level as they're being put out these days. Now, there were some killer clones back when I was starting out, and even back before that, that were really, really solid. And I'm not discrediting any of the really good ones that were released back then, but the success rate and the quality of these just keeps getting better. And it seems like just within the past couple years, they've really exploded. And there's some amazing ones out there that are going for $20, $30, and they're replicating fragrances that cost $200, $300, $400, $500. It's really crazy. And I want to go over 10 fragrance clones that I do not think you will regret one bit. If you put a little bit of money down on these, they're going to impress you. And I've talked about my reasoning behind why I wear clones in passing many times, and people usually just don't watch those videos, and so I have to repeat it. But I like to wear clones in situations where a scent might get washed off. I might shower it off. It might get washed off in the lake, the ocean, sweat it off, whatever. And it might only be on my skin for a couple hours. Instead of wearing the real deal, which again is usually going to be expensive, I can go for a clone and not worry about it being completely wasted. That's just one reason. I've talked about many more, but just to kind of give you guys some ideas on, even if you already have the originals, maybe you can pick up a clone of your favorite scent and save yourself a little bit of money in the long run. So I will provide links to these down below. As I reference prices, it's going to be discounted prices, so you make sure you use those links and save the most amount of money. I'm also doing $500 giveaways every single month on my channel on the community tab. I'm posting deals over there all day, every day. So make sure you get subscribed. And if you want to get those deals via email, hit the link down below. Let's kick this one off with AFNAN's Tobacco Rush. You guys know me, tobacco and fragrances is like bread and butter for my personal taste. I love it, okay? And there's a lot of really, really good ones out there. There's Mancera Red Tobacco, Carolina Herrera Mystery Tobacco. There's something like Spice Bomb Extreme. And again, going back to the niche side, you could go for something like Parfums de Marly, Herod, right? There's so many of them. I'm a big fan of pretty much all of them, if not all of them that I have. And the problem with a lot of those is, again, the price point. But you can get this one here, which is kind of a mixture of those. It has a little bit of red tobacco, a little bit of mystery tobacco, a little bit of something like Tom Ford Tobacco Oud. It just kind of takes little bits and pieces of each of those, some booziness, some tobacco, some wood, some sweetness, and combines it all into one, and you get monstrous performance out of this one. Really, really nice clone. And while we're on the tobacco train, we'll go with this one, although it's in a completely different direction, and you'll see what I mean. This is Paris Corner Charuto Tobacco Vanille, or Pandora scents. So it's weird. LATTAFA does this as well with Maison Alhambra. Pandora scents is kind of the name, but when you look on the back, there's Paris Corner. So they're just branching off. I don't know why they do this, but whatever. This is obviously going to be a clone of Tobacco Vanille by Tom Ford. Now, I have that fragrance. I think it's really nice, but the price to performance ratio these days is a little bit sad, in my opinion. It doesn't perform that good on my skin, but this stuff does, and it is so, so good and drop dead impressive. Going into this, given the presentation looked a little bit cheesy to me in the pictures, I'm like, I don't know. But when I got this one in, the level of depth that this one has, from a literal smoky pipe tobacco accord all the way over to this sweet, semi-boozy, syrupy vanilla scent for, you know, in the $20 range, $20, $30, this is nothing short of completely impressive, and this might be one of the better clones I've smelled on the market. Amazingly addictive stuff, great performance. I mean, this will blow you away if you like this DNA. Next up from LATTAFA, we have HAYATTI. HAYATTI? HAYATTI? I don't know, HAYATTI? Something like that. Yeah, that's what it is. Completely butchered that, but whatever. Now, this one is a clone of Rassasié Havas. And now that one is a plum, bergamot, watery notes, ambroxan. Basically, that started the Invictus Aqua DNA. So think of this as Invictus Aqua DNA, but for $15 or $20. Invictus Aqua 2016, can't buy it anymore without paying $200 or $300. Invictus Aqua 2018, can still get it from time to time for about $80. The Rasasi, depending on where you're shopping, it can be $48, $50, upwards of $70. This one, pretty much $20 everywhere. So if you're on a bit of a budget, you can go for this, and it gives you a similar vibe to that Rasasi DNA than Invictus Aqua DNA is what it's going to be better known by, even though the Rasasi did come out first. I think if you want to save a little bit of money, maybe you're running low on whether it be any of those, the Invictus Aqua, the Rasasi, you're just running low and you want a cheapie to kind of pick up and get you tied over, you can check this one out. It's really impressive stuff for a low price. We'll go to a non-clone brand up next. This one from Montblanc is Explorer. So it's a Creed Aventus clone, and a really, really good one at that for a great price. Usually, depending on if you get tester or not, $40 to $50, somewhere around in there. Testers, I don't think come with caps, unfortunately. I could be wrong, but I don't think they do. And so you are going to save a little bit more money by going with the tester, although at the expense of maybe not having a cap. Personally, I think the cap is really nice. It's metal, has a little bit of a heft to it. It completes the look. But if you want to save some money, you really can't beat that either. So it's Creed Aventus. Now there are tons of Creed Aventus clones out there, and the way I approach this is I like to feature different ones whenever I can. I could feature ARMAF Club de Nuit Intense Man limited edition every single time. I could change it up and go with like an Aventus Hasavat clone like AFNAN Supremacy Not Only Intense. I could go with a plethora of other Aventus clones, Parfums Vintage, and just even more. So instead of just going with the same one every time, I like to circle through. And this time I'm giving some love to the Montblanc because it really deserves it. It's a really nice one. And if you want something from a more premium kind of designer brand that isn't a straight up clone brand and you just want a nice take on Aventus, you could go for this one. Okay, another Tom Ford clone up next. We're out for blood in this video for Tom Ford. This one's Woody Oud, and definitely very apparent as to what this is a clone of. Oud wood. Okay, now this is kind of what I was talking about. It's Maison Alhambra on the front. I don't know if you could see it, but then when you look at the bottom, it's LATTAFA. So, and it says that on the box as well. So you can kind of call it whatever you want. It's got oud, it has wood, and that's about it. All seriousness though, it's a really nice classy scent that gets you shockingly close to Tom Ford Oud Wood for about $24, $25. Definitely a must-have if you like that DNA, but you want to save a little bit more money in the long run. Wear this one before you take a shower in the mid-afternoon. You can wear it in the morning, wash it off, and you don't feel like you're wasting anything. Paris Corner CEDRAT Essence. So this is a Mancera CEDRAT Boisé clone. This is a clone of the EDP rather than the extrait, even though this is actually an extrait concentration. I just wanted to clarify that. The difference between the two in terms of the Mancera is the extrait has a little bit more sweetness, a little bit more depth, and actually introduces a slight bit of an oud accord, and that's kind of the difference scent-wise. But again, this is going more so towards the EDP. It's a little bit fresher, a little bit more fruity. It's got great performance, great smell, very, very close to CEDRAT Boisé, and as far as I know, the only CEDRAT Boisé clone that you can get. Now, in this scenario here, CEDRAT Boisé isn't really all that expensive on discounters. I've touched on this. You know, you can get it for like $74 for a 120 ml tester with cap. Full presentation, $80. That's designer price. That's cheaper than some Dior's and Chanel's and even some Giorgio Armani's, especially at price per mil. So it's not that bad. But still, if you want to save some money and get this for, I think, $35, somewhere around in there, you're still saving money, and it's just the way to go if you're on a budget. Nothing wrong with that. Next up, AFNAN TURATHI Brown. So I recently did a review on this. I also did a review on TURATHI Blue. That could have also been in here. I just wanted to stick with one. And because I've been talking about the blue quite a bit, I want to go for brown. And they're completely different, by the way. I just want to clarify that. But TURATHI Brown is going to be a clone of Mustache Eau de Parfum by Rojas or YSL Tuxedo. Now, I say it's more so a clone of Mustache because between Mustache and Tuxedo, there are differences, mainly that Mustache has more focus on vanilla. Now this here also has more focus on vanilla, therefore kind of is closer to Mustache, even though they're all close to Tuxedo, if that makes sense. You could call it however you like, but that's kind of how I look at it. But regardless, it's getting you very close to this DNA, vanilla, benzoin, pink pepper, patchouli, and it smells amazing. There's nothing else out there like this DNA. There's other things out there like this because it's a clone, but in terms of this DNA, it's so unique. It's a head turner every single time. And if you want to smell different, but have still some mass appeal to you, check out any of them. If you can afford the tuxedo, go for it. But since you're watching this clone video, you want something affordable, go for this or mustache. Whichever one you can get at a lower price is the one you should go for. Right now, I think the TURATHI is kind of coming in at the better price point, so this is definitely worth checking out. Now, we could also go for something like LATTAFA ASAD, which I believe means lion, or something like that. I saw a comment, actually a couple comments, someone translating this for me. I believe lion. Could be wrong. Something similar to that, but I know it does make sense because this is a monster of a scent, and so is Sauvage Elixir. That one is incredibly expensive. $320 for 100 mil, $260 for 60 mil. This is at retail. Discounters, you can get it for significantly lower, but still expensive. $130, $140 at discounters, so definitely not cheap. This is $20, $22 all day long when it's in stock. If it's not in stock right now, check the community tab, get subscribed. It's going to pay to subscribe when you can pull one of these off after I post about it when it comes in stock. So don't worry, you'll be able to get it at some point if you can't right now. Regardless for the price, this is an absolute no-brainer at all. If you're kind of apprehensive to wear out of your bottle of Sauvage Elixir because it is so expensive and you paid that much money for a designer scent, which can be a little bit painful. I definitely cringed when I bought mine at full retail price plus tax and shipping. You could grab this one and spray it on heavily and wash it off 3 hours later and you're not out hardly anything. Let's keep it moving. I almost dropped it with ARMAF Très Nuit, a premium green iris tweed clone by Creed, for a fraction of the price, like $20 on discounters. The Creed is going for like $400 plus at retail and around $200 or so on discounters for 100 mil, somewhere around in there. Pretty expensive stuff. So this one has that lemon verbena, a little bit of iris, musk, some other citrus in here, ambergris. This DNA is classic, it's timeless, it's versatile, it's gentlemanly, and this is really good, very impressive for the price. And last up, we're gonna go over probably the all around the best compliment getter in this video, I would say. Just a blue fragrance type of thing that will just never fail to get you positive feedback if you are a well-dressed, presentable, approachable looking guy. This is the type of thing that paired with that, overall package will get you feedback easily. It's LATTAFA FAKHAR Eau de Parfum. So it's YSL EDP. For about 20 bucks, somewhere around in there, 20, 25. And this is a really, really good scent, really good clone, very similar. Has a little bit more of a lavender soapiness to it than Y, a little bit less sweet as well, which I actually think is beneficial for some people out there where the EDP is overly sweet for you and it just doesn't settle down. Maybe it's too sweet for your liking in the summertime. This might be a little bit more summer oriented for you, which is pretty nice. We're also talking about pretty heavy savings here. YSL EDP, even on discounters, is usually going to be going for like, I don't know, $109, $110 for 100 mil. And again, this one is around 20. So nice savings. Even if you have the Y, you can wear this one, save yourself a lot of money, wear it to the pool. If it gets washed off, who cares? Alrighty guys, that's going to do it for me. 10 fragrance clones that I truly believe you will not regret one bit if you decide to pick any of these up. Now, of course, if you don't like the DNA that it's trying to clone, you might not like it. But in terms of being let down because these aren't accurate or of high quality for the price, I think that's very unlikely. Unless you're a clone hater. In that case, you probably won't like any of these, which if you watched this far, I appreciate it anyway. Links will be down below, deals on the community tab, giveaways over there as well. That's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.